The orbital defense hub hung above the Pacific like a wounded leviathan, its skeletal ribs glowing red from enemy fire. Hull plating peeled away into the void, scattering shards of molten steel that drifted in slow arcs toward Earth's shimmering blue curve. Within its fractured command deck, Captain Elias Rourke stood braced against the railing, boots steady despite the tremors rattling the station. "Power grids failing across sectors 5 through 9, reported Lieutenant Mirachin, her voice sharp but controlled. Her eyes never left the tactical display, where red markers bloomed across the holographic sphere representing Earth. "Shields at 30%. We can't take another volley." "Then we won't," Rourke said. His tone was calm, almost cold. He turned to the comms officer, who sat pale and motionless at his station. "What's their demand?" The young man swallowed. "They broadcast in every major tongue. One message, sir: unconditional surrender. They promise extermination if we refuse." Rourke's jaw tightened. He stared through the fractured viewport at the alien fleet blotting out the sun. Sleek silver hulls stretched like knives across the darkness, their formation precise, unyielding. He had studied them for hours and still could not find weakness. He tapped the comms console, voice carrying across every UTC channel. "This is Captain Elias Rourke. Let them hear me." He leaned forward, tone low but edged with steel. "Tell the invaders this is Earth's final transmission. They've sealed their fate." The bridge went silent. No one dared breathe. For a heartbeat, only the hum of dying systems filled the void. Then, as if on cue, the alien armada shifted, their lances of plasma charging again. The deck lurched under the impact. Consoles erupted in sparks, smoke filled the air. A junior officer screamed as fire swept across his station. Rourke caught Myra's eye. She nodded once, already directing damaged crews, voice steady despite the chaos. "Target their lead frigate," Rourke ordered. "Sir, our cannons can't penetrate their shields," Chen replied. "Then make the shot count. Redirect reactor overflow to the rail batteries. Burn the barrels out if you have to." There was hesitation only for a breath. Then Chen's fingers flew across the console. The station trembled as power rerouted, alarms blaring. A single rail gun roared to life, its slug tearing across the void. The alien frigate shuddered under the strike, shields flickering. Sparks cascaded along its hull. It wasn't destroyed, but it was hurt, and for the first time, the crews saw the enemy bleed. A cheer rose from the deck, raw and defiant. Even as another volley ripped through the station, even as men and women fell choking in smoke, they cheered. Admiral Corbin stormed onto the bridge, face flushed, uniform pristine despite the devastation. "This is madness, Rourke. Do you realize what you've done? You've doomed every one of us." Rourke turned, unflinching. "No, Admiral. I gave them a reason to fight." Corbin's fists trembled. "We cannot win. Their firepower eclipses everything we have. Surrender is the only path to survival." Chen cut in, eyes blazing. "Survival as slaves, you mean? That's not survival." Rourke stepped closer, his shadow falling across Corbin. "Listen well. They came here expecting a broken world easy prey. We'll show them something else. If we're going to die, it will be on our feet." Corbin recoiled, muttering curses as he stalked off the deck. Rourke watched him go, expression unreadable. The comms officer's console beeped. "Captain, they're transmitting again." A voice filled the bridge, harsh and resonant. The words were perfectly translated, though the cadence was alien, every syllable dripping disdain. "Humans! You resist in futility. Submit now, and some of you may be permitted to live in service to the Dominion. Resist further, and your species will be erased." The crew stiffened. Rourke straightened, folding his arms. "Patch me through." Static cleared. "This is Elias Rourke of Earth. We are not subjects. We are not slaves. You came here thinking we'd kneel. You'll find only ruin." The line cut abruptly. Silence settled, but every officer's spine straightened, resolve hardening. Minutes later, alarms screamed again. Enemy ships broke formation, dozens moving into strike positions. The battle was far from over. Rourke strode to the viewport, watching their movements with hawk-like intensity. Mira, prep the decoy drones. Launch them toward the upper atmosphere. She blinked. To draw them in? To drag them down? He said. Gravity's still ours. Let's use it. Moments later, swarms of battered drones burst from launch bays, streaking toward Earth's edge. Alien ships pursued, misreading the crude maneuver as retreat. When their engines faltered against Earth's pull, it was too late. 2 ships burned into the atmosphere, shields overloaded, hulls breaking apart in a cascade of fire. The bridge erupted in cheers again, louder this time. A sliver of hope pierced the suffocating dread. But Rourke didn't smile. He leaned on the railing, eyes fixed on the stars. They had scored a victory, yes. Yet the fleet above was vast, unbroken, inexorable. Humanity had struck, but the storm still gathered. He tapped a private channel, recording his voice for Earth. This is Captain Elias Rourke. To every city, every shelter, remember what you saw today. They are not gods. They can bleed. And we will make them bleed again. Stand firm. The fight's only begun. The message pulsed across quantum relays, racing toward Earth's surface. In bunkers and shelters, families clutched each other tighter. In command bunkers, generals listened with grim nods. Across the globe, humanity felt the spark of defiance ignite. As the alien fleet regrouped, tightening their formation, Rourke finally allowed himself a breath. He knew this was only the opening exchange. More fire would fall. More lives would be lost. But humanity would not be conquered quietly. Behind him, Mirachin murmured, almost to herself. If this is the beginning, what's the end going to look like? Rourke didn't answer. He kept his gaze locked on the enemy, his expression carved from stone. Whatever the end looked like, he would face it head-on. Outside, Earth's first war among the stars had begun. Dawn broke over Earth, but no one noticed the sun. The sky was scarred by streaks of fire, fragments of ruined satellites burning through the atmosphere. Cities across the globe were silent except for the wail of sirens and the thunder of evac columns rolling toward subterranean shelters. Humanity was bracing for extinction. Captain Elias Rourke watched the evacuation feeds from the defense hub's command deck. Lines of civilians streamed underground while children clutched ragged toys and soldiers herded the stragglers forward. His jaw tightened. He had sworn once never to see children dragged into war again, but the universe had left him no choice. Lieutenant Mirachin approached, a datapad in hand. Casualty reports from the orbital ring. 2/3 of our fleet is gone. Survivors are falling back to Earth's surface. What's left won't survive another barrage. Rourke didn't flinch. And the shelters? 58% capacity reached. Some are refusing to leave their homes. He exhaled through his nose. They'll regret it when the bombardment starts. A calm chime cut through the smoke-laced air. Vathar Kryn's voice filled the deck, steady and cold, every syllable sharpened by contempt. Humans! Your efforts amuse us, but resistance is irrational. You trade lives for moments. Surrender now, and some of your people may be spared. The bridge crew stiffened. Mira spat a curse under her breath. Rourke leaned toward the mic, tone controlled. We don't measure life in moments. We measure it in freedom. If you thought we'd kneel, you don't know humanity at all. Static swallowed the line. Kryn had heard enough. Moments later, alarms screamed. Red markers blossomed across the tactical sphere as Dominion squadrons broke orbit and surged toward Earth. Their formation was flawless, machine-like. Mira looked up sharply. They're targeting the Northern Hemisphere. Primary strike on UTC command in Geneva. Not while I'm breathing. Rourke gripped the railing. Scramble every surviving ship. Launch decoy drones. Prepare atmospheric intercepts. The remnants of the defense fleet rose from Earth, battered hulls glinting against dawn. They were outnumbered 5-1, but they moved with desperate purpose. The first clash was brutal. Alien lances of plasma cut through human cruisers, reducing them to molten shards. In return, Rourke's fleet deployed kinetic slingshots, improvised weapons hurling metal fragments at impossible velocity. Shields flickered under the storm. One Dominion corvette faltered and spiraled into the sea, leaving a plume of steam. On the bridge, cheers erupted, quickly silenced by another explosion as a human destroyer vanished from the board. Myra's voice stayed steady. "That's the third loss in 5 minutes. We can't sustain this." Rourke's gaze narrowed on the tactical readout. Earth's gravity well glowed faintly, pulling at the alien ships that had strayed too low. He saw opportunity. "Signal the Vigilant. Tell them to feign retreat into the upper atmosphere. Lure pursuit." She hesitated. "They'll never make it back out." "They don't need to." His voice was heavy. "They just need to drag the bastards down with them." Orders relayed, the Vigilant turned, engines flaring. Dominion interceptors swarmed after it, weapons hot. The ship dove lower, flames licking its hull as it skimmed Earth's edge. One alien cruiser followed too far. Its shields flared, collapsed, and the ship tore apart in re-entry fire. The Vigilant vanished seconds later, consumed by the same blaze. The bridge went quiet. Myra's eyes glistened, but her voice was firm. "Message from the Vigilant's captain before contact loss for Earth." Rourke closed his eyes briefly, then straightened. "And Earth will remember." As the battle raged, Admiral Corbin stormed back onto the deck, robes disheveled, face slick with sweat. "Enough!" he barked. "Look at the losses. Every minute you drag this on, millions more die. We must accept their terms before there's nothing left to save." Rourke turned slowly. "Surrender is not survival. It's preservation," Corbin shouted. "What use is freedom if humanity is ash?" The deck crew froze, listening. Rourke stepped forward, voice low but cutting. "If we surrender, humanity becomes nothing but labor and livestock. Ash is preferable." Corbin's face twisted, but he said nothing. He stormed out again, the hatch hissing closed behind him. Mira broke the silence. "He'll keep trying. You know that." "I know." Rourke's tone was grim. "And I'll deal with it." Hours blurred into fire and loss. Ship after ship fell, but every alien vessel that broke formation felt the sting of desperate human tactics. Improvised mines detonated in low orbit. Drones masked missile launches. Crude, brutal methods that cost lives, but made the Dominion bleed. By nightfall, Earth's skies were a battlefield graveyard, streaked with burning wreckage. The defense fleet was shattered, but the Dominion's perfection had cracked. Rourke knew it wasn't victory, but it was survival. For now. He retreated to his private cabin, exhaustion heavy in his bones. Mira followed, refusing to leave him alone. "You haven't slept in 2 days," she said softly. "Sleep's for after the war." He collapsed into the chair, rubbing at his temples. "Do you think they understand us, Mira? Do you think they see what we are?" She sat across from him, eyes unwavering. "They see statistics. Numbers. Losses. They'll never understand why we fight with everything even when there's nothing left." Rourke met her gaze. "That misunderstanding is our weapon." The deck intercom crackled to life. "Captain, urgent! Dominion broadcast incoming!" They rushed back to the bridge. The alien voice filled the air, smooth and merciless. "Humans! Each death you suffer is by your choice. Your defiance ensures only annihilation. This world is ours. Resist again, and your species will not endure another dawn." Rourke let the silence stretch. Then he leaned toward the mic, voice like iron. "You've seen our dawn. You'll see our dusk. But you'll never see us bow." He cut the channel. Around him, officers straightened, eyes fierce. The Dominion had the firepower, but humanity had the will. Rourke stood at the viewport, staring into the star-filled void. Ships burned, cities smoldered, but his heart remained steady. "They wanted us to break," he murmured. "Instead, they've made us unbreakable." The night deepened over Earth, the sky glowing with the ruins of battle. Humanity's weight pressed down on his shoulders, but he bore it without falter. Tomorrow, he knew, would be worse. Tomorrow, he would make them bleed again. The orbital night was lit by fire. Broken ships drifted across the void like tombstones, their wreckage reflecting Earth's pale glow. Humanity's fleet was reduced to scattered fragments, yet the Dominion's armada lingered, vast and unbroken, forming a dark ring around the planet. Captain Elias Rourke stood at the shattered viewport of the defense hub, uniform torn and streaked with soot. The air reeked of scorched metal. Below him, Earth's lights dimmed as more cities vanished into underground bunkers. The war was entering its last hour. "Enemy fleet is repositioning," Lieutenant Mirachin reported. Her voice carried strain, but her hands were steady on the console. "They're tightening the perimeter. Looks like they're preparing a final strike." Rourke's eyes narrowed. "Then they mean to end this tonight." A calm chime cut through the tension. Admiral Corbin stormed onto the deck, face pale and eyes bloodshot. "It's over, Rourke. We've lost. If you don't send surrender protocols now, you'll kill what's left of us." Rourke didn't turn. "I told you before, Admiral. Slavery isn't survival." Corbin's voice cracked. "Survival is existence, nothing more. Let them chain us if it means we live." Myra's head snapped up. "And what kind of life is that?" The Admiral faltered, then muttered a curse and stormed off, but Rourke knew the man's desperation would not stop. There was no time to worry about betrayal. The bridge shuddered as another Dominion barrage slammed into the hub. Sparks rained down. Half the displays went black. "Shields are gone," Chen said flatly. "Then we'll fight without them." Rourke's tone was steel. He called up a hidden schematic on the holotable, a contingency buried deep in UTC command files, the Prometheus array. A buried quantum transmitter, hidden under the Andes, capable of carrying a signal across the stars. It was never meant to be used under fire, but it was all that remained. Rourke keyed in the link. "Patch me through to the array." Chen glanced at him. "You're going to broadcast?" "Not just to them. To everyone." The Dominion fleet shifted again. A channel opened unbidden, and Vathar Kryn's voice filled the bridge. Smooth, cold, saturated with contempt. "Human captain. Your resistance is a curiosity, but it ends now. You have lost every battle. What remains of your kind can serve, or they will be ash. Decide." Rourke stepped into the center of the deck, shoulders squared. "You came here believing we'd kneel. You saw ruins and thought us broken. But you don't understand us. We don't kneel. Not to you, not to anyone." Kryn's laughter was low, humorless. "Pride before extinction. A predictable flaw." Rourke leaned forward, voice cutting. "You think this is pride? No. This is survival, and survival means defiance. You can burn every city, kill every one of us, but humanity doesn't vanish. You've already sealed your fate." The line cut. Mira looked at him, silent but burning with resolve. "What now?" He gave the order without hesitation. "Transmit." The array's systems roared to life deep beneath the Andes, channeling raw power into the quantum relay. Across the stars, beyond the Dominion's borders, the message began to spread. Rourke's voice carried through every word, steady, unbroken. "This is Earth. We stand defiant. They came to enslave us, but found a people who refused to bow. If you hear this, if you live under the Dominion's shadow, know this: they can bleed. They can fall. We are humanity, and we will not die quietly." The broadcast echoed into the dark. The Dominion reacted instantly. Their fleet surged forward, every ship unleashing fire. The hub shook violently. Consoles burst, crew thrown from their stations. "Direct hit to Sector 4! Chen shouted. "Structural integrity's collapsing." Rourke didn't hesitate. "Prepare the self-destruct." Chen froze. "Sir? They want this station intact. They want the message silenced. We'll deny them both. Detonate, take as many of them with us as we can." For a moment, Mira searched his face, as though weighing whether to argue. Then she nodded. Aye, sir. The sequence armed. Red lights pulsed across the deck. The crew braced, some whispering prayers, others smiling grimly. The alien fleet closed in. A cruiser drew within firing range, its hull gleaming like silver. Rourke patched one final channel directly to HFY. You'll write this day into your records as our defeat. But history won't remember it that way. They'll remember the moment you thought humanity weak, and found out what we are. HFY's voice cracked through the static, tinged with fury. You are nothing. Rourke's lips curved into the faintest smile. We are everything you fear. The detonation ripped through the orbital hub. Fire consumed the station, energy waves shredding through the nearest Dominion ships. 3 vessels exploded in brilliant succession, fragments scattering like burning meteors across the night. Inside the collapsing bridge, Rourke felt the heat rising, pressure building, metal screaming. Mara gripped the console, eyes fixed on him. The message, it's out there, isn't it? He nodded once, calm. It'll be heard. The walls tore apart, the stars blazing brighter than fire. Below, on Earth's surface, millions huddled in shelters heard the final words echoing through the relays. In distant systems, oppressed worlds caught fragments of the transmission. Across space, a spark had been lit. Captain Elias Rourke's last thought was not of death, but of legacy. Humanity would endure, not because of weapons, not because of strength, but because of refusal. Even if Earth burned, their defiance would carry into eternity. The transmission pulsed outward, unstoppable. Asterisk, we are humanity. We will not bow. Asterisk. Asterisk.